come away, have a practice swing. Just turn your body with it as well, Barnesy. Go through it as if you was throwing a ball. Yeah, you got to turn through it. That's it.
Okay, let's have a little go there. Oh,
well, at least we've stopped that one going over there to the right, yeah?
So I either do that or do that.
Yeah. Tough game, mate. It's not like kicking a football, mate, is it?
Can't do that either.
Right, Barnesy, give us your shout, your take on the favourites going into the World Cup and maybe the dark horses that might surprise a few.
So when people talk about favourites and dark horses, there are not many teams who've won the World Cup. We're a fantastic side, we've won it once. But people get excited when the World Cup comes along. They look at someone and go, we think they can win. Belgium, best team in the world, they haven't got to a final. Because it's always the usual suspects who've been there, done it, the pressure's on them, the Germans, the Englands, the Spains. So when you talk about favourites, Italy won the Euros, they're not even there.
Unbelievable, eh?
You could talk about Belgium being favourite, but when push comes to shove, if Belgium were going to play against France, as we saw in the Euros, I would back France. So I don't think there are any outstanding favourites. You know, England will be up there, and what England will do is maximise their potential, as they have done, to beat who they should beat. That if they come up against a France or a Belgium, yes, they can beat them, but they can also lose. So I don't see there are any outstanding favourites. And from the dark horses point of view, I've always looked. I remember 1974 when Zaire, which is now the Congo, and they lost 9-0 to Yugoslavia, 5-0, 6-0 to Brazil, and then Scotland only scored 2 against them. And people thought, because of what African players have, that once they get organised, they'll be able to do it. And then we've seen Cameroon in 1990, when we played, should have beaten us. Yeah. Got to the quarterfinals. Nigeria in 98, when they beat Spain 3-2, but then they lost to Denmark. And for me, Senegal, they're the African nations champions. They've qualified. Sadio Mane, they've got good players playing in Europe, but I can't see any dark horses winning it. For me, dark horses is getting to a quarterfinal, semi-final, and that's good as it gets for the dark horse.
Home nation?
As a dark horse, years ago, and you know Scotland 92, and Scotland had good players, and Scotland had a good team. Scotland once upon a time could compete. Dalglish, Souness, they had great players, but I think the home nations for me have gone backwards. If you look at what the Republic of Ireland, for example, the home nations were England, and then Republic of Ireland, Scotland and Wales probably 4th, whereas now for me Wales are the 2nd best team. So as they showed in the Euros, you can see Wales possibly, if they qualify, I'm not saying being dark horses, but putting on a good show. Garrett's last hurrah. But apart from England, I can't see any of the home nations.
No.
You know more than I did in terms of dark horses, because I know you know about betting and favourites and 2nd and 3rd and things coming from behind. Who do you have?
I'm similar to you. I mean, the African nations are getting stronger, more organised. You know, winning the African Nations Cup, Senegal, you've got to say they've got a chance because they'll feel good about themselves. But still think they're way behind still when you're going into the major competitions.
Once you get into the quarterfinals and semis.
Yeah, knowing how to win games at those final stages. Might not seem a big thing to the average punter, but when you've got people in and around the camp that have won trophies, been in World Cup finals, they know what it takes. You know, the coolness that you have to have in the on the big occasion. So Senegal will feel good about themselves. So they'll be my dark horses as well. I've got to mention England. I mean, the optimism now from 8-10 years ago. Is just amazing in England, isn't it? I mean, when Gareth took over the job, Gareth Southgate as the England manager, the press have kind of laid off him, haven't they? And so, you know, let's all get behind the England team,
as the fans
you
do
should.
as well.
Yeah, the fans, they've all given them a bit of space. And now they've had success by doing well in the World Cup, doing well in the Euros, just missing out to Italy. The expectancy level now is just going to flip. All of a sudden, the pressure is back on the England team because they've done so well. Everybody's expecting them to do well again. But I like the way Gareth's working with the England squad, very much like Terry Venables, got them as a close-knit, you know, let's stick together, let's fight the world. I love that. I love that.
I think the difference is that the world was against Terry and the England team as well, in terms of what not just the press and the fans are, whereas now everybody's for them.
Yeah.
So as much as Terry did the same thing as Gareth, I think it's a much more harmonious and happier camp now, whereby everybody wants him to do well.
Yeah.
And that really does make a big difference. Because of course, you remember, 1960 did very well. Go a few months earlier in Hong Kong, and you can see what happened there. And of course, that could have gone one or two ways, couldn't it?
And but you know, he's had a few troubles along the way, and he was like lads trying to go out on nights out with Foden and whatnot, and he's
But I don't think the press and the fans have had to go at them like they would.
No, not like they did at us in Euro '96. But just the way he's handling things, and they know about the pressure now, it holds you in good stead. It's like, you know, when teams do well in the Champions League, they get used to playing, and then they get into the finals and they have a chance of winning. So hopefully England will be alongside the nations that you've just mentioned, and we'll have a happy 2022 World Cup. But I must have to add that playing on away soil is so much different to playing on the home ground, and that's going to make it very difficult, you know, for an English team to come over here and win.
But if you're talking about one of the European teams being favourites, they're all playing in unknown territory in Qatar. A bit like South Africa. It's unknown. So I mean, Italy's not there. Sorry to rub it in, lads. But France, Belgium, Spain, Germany, they're not used to playing in Qatar either. So there's no real advantage there.
That is
the
one thing.
Country I want to ask you about, because of course, every year comes around for the last probably 8 years, and people get excited about them. And because I know not just the history, but the expectations and what's necessary because you've done it before, the best team in the world and with the players, which I still don't fancy, are Belgium, when push comes to shove.
Yeah.
And they've faltered in the last couple of tournaments, being favourites and being great players. And I just think, can they do it this time?
Well, again, when you've been in and around it, they got to the semi-finals, right? In the last World Cup, you know, it's getting close. So they're understanding what it takes to go that one level further. So you know, you've got class players. Hopefully, Lukaku will still be performing. De Bruyne is a fantastic player. I love him. I love watching him. And you know, the management as well. Still the same management. They're not chopping and changing their management. So that they're all going into it with the optimism of doing well in the last competition and going on from there.
I just remember them against France. Great players, dominating possession, but France had no help.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But as long as we do well, that's all that matters.
Back to the goal. Tough shot here, into a bit of wind.
Oh, nice
Ugly.
Shot. Nice shot.
Yeah, but it's got your curly whirly at the end. That's ugly, that is, Barnes. I've got to tell you.